All right, so looking at it, the first big slate impacting injury news that we have is going to be Damian Lillard. He is ruled out. Okay, so just looking at that to start off with, we can look at Portland. Okay, so we have seen this before. We saw many games with Damian Lillard out. Anthony Simons is going to be someone that probably is going to step up into a bigger role, although he has a tough matchup. Now, just looking at the data with Lillard out, his usage rate is 32%, and his DK average is about, or fantasy point average is about 40 fantasy points. Okay, so with this matchup with Milwaukee, it's not exactly a must play, although it wouldn't be shocking to see him go off like he did last game against Utah. Then some other players that step up and get a little bit more increase in value is Justice Winslow, although he has struggled recently. It wouldn't be shocking to see him get more minutes and get more usage. His usage rate with Lillard off the court is about 16.6. His DK per 36 average is about 30. Okay, so someone you could look at. And then Jeremy Grant, who he had a solid run there for a little bit. It wouldn't be shocking to see him go off and have a good game in this one, maybe possibly score 40 fantasy points as well. His usage rate with Lillard off the court is 25%, and his fantasy point average is only 36 per 36 with Damian Lillard off the court. So obviously needs to do better than that. And Yusuf Nurk is also someone you could potentially look at if you wanted to. From there, I do want to call out the other kind of biggest slate impacting news, I think personally, is that the two bigs for OKC are going to be ruled out. Okay. So with that could open up some great value on the slate, really in multiple positions. So first off, Jalen Williams is a player that you could easily look at on the slate, actually has the most minutes with those two off the court. His usage rate is 16% with them off the court. And I should mention the three players I'm going to touch on for the Thunder here, their usage rate or their DK point total or FanDuel point total per 36 doesn't really change too much. Okay. It's just the fact that they should be in for more minutes. That's the biggest thing that we like. Okay. So the fact that they're going to be in for more minutes is what you like. And he already has been someone that's been getting some minutes. So there already should be a floor baked in there. His per 36 with those two off the court is 26 fantasy points. So not particularly great, but also those minutes should be there for him. So a player you could certainly look at on the slate. And then looking at Robinson Earl, going to be someone that I think everyone's going to be on the slate because they should be. Okay. Last game, we saw him get 28 minutes and we saw him score 29 DK points. And that's just the thing with him. It's like when the minutes have been there for him, he's been a strong, productive player. His average DK points with those two off the court is 34 DK points per 36. So I don't think we can project him to get 30 plus minutes or so, but maybe we get 25 locked in and we get 20 DK points locked in. At this price point, we would certainly take that. And then also one other player I want to mention is going to be Kendrick Williams, someone that possibly could be in for more minutes. His usage rate isn't that great, only about 13% with those two off the court, and his DK average per 36 is only 26. So yeah, sure. Could he get 20 minutes and get 20 DK points? He could, could be a decent price point play. And a player that was popping up on the Occupy model as well is going to be Waters, okay? Someone that potentially could step into a little bit more run in this game as well. Last two games, 27 and 19 minutes. Obviously, you like that, 16 and 22 DK points. At his price point, would only need to get around 18 DK points really to hit value. So another player that could be a strong price point play for you on the slate. And then there is one other kind of big slate impacting news thus far, I think personally. It's going to be Mike Conley. Mike Conley has been ruled out, okay? And so if he's out, I think that opens up some pretty good value for the Utah Jazz. So the player that gets the most minutes with Mike Conley off the court is actually THT Horton Tucker. We've seen him have games in which he's been a strong DK point per minute player, okay? He is someone that you could have considered on the slate regardless because, well, if he gets around 20 minutes or something, he could have got you around 20 DK points, okay? He has been that type of player. Now with Mike Conley off the court, his usage rate is above 20% and his DK point total per 36 is 35. So really good price point play there, okay? And obviously the thing that we like about him is that we can play him at guard or forward on this slate, which really opens up a lot. And then same thing for Malik Beasley. He is already, like Jalen Williams, already someone you probably were going to be looking at on this slate, given the price point and given the production recently. But the fact that you already have a player that's injured, that should help raise his floor a little bit. That really makes him a strong price point play. His usage rate with Mike Conley off the court is 20%, and his DK point total per 36 is 35. Once again, I don't really think he's going to change all too much as a play. His floor should just be raised up, okay? And so that's what I like about him as a play. And then Lauri Markkanen just should have a nice solid floor as well, someone you could look at. So that's the biggest news that I see injury-wise. Let's switch it up and get into the top value on this slate. So looking at FanDuel. So FanDuel right now, the best value is going to be looking like RJ Barrett. That is interesting to me. me. Same price point on FanDuel as he is on DraftKings. Going to be in for a lot of minutes. And honestly, I think it's mostly just due to this game. That game is a game in which I want to be targeting. I think it's going to be easy to stack. There is some potential value that's opened up. Obviously with OKC, but also potentially with the New York Knicks. So like RJ Barrett, obviously the model likes him as a pretty good FanDuel play. You could play him there. I do want to touch on this real quick though. Cam Reddish, currently questionable, sat out last game. If he sits out again, Quentin Grimes is going to be someone that a lot of people are trying to play on the slate. Okay, had 32 minutes in the last game, had 30 DK points. Okay, and the thing with it is like he didn't really shoot all too well. He did it with assists and rebounds as well. That is something that you like to see. So if Cam Reddish is out, he could be someone you're looking at as a value play as well. So who else is popping up FanDuel wise? Yes, Jordan Clarkson I like a lot as a FanDuel play. $400 cheaper there. Should be a strong price point play for you there. On DraftKings as well, a fine play. But on FanDuel to get that little bit of a price decrease, I like that a lot. Looney, someone that's always popping up there. It seems like you could play him if you want to. And no real like terrible price points. I mean, maybe Mitchell Robinson does get a good matchup. Just how many minutes is he going to get? We don't know that for sure. All right, let's switch it up and we'll get into DraftKings side of it. It does seem like there's a little bit better value on DraftKings than there is on FanDuel on the slate. So once again, Robinson Earl popping up there. You got Waters popping up there. Okay. And then Aaron Wiggins. So once again, guys, I think that could be a game that you could stack. And just looking at the game, over and under 230. So you like that. But the thing with it is there's a bunch of great games to stack. It's a very high scoring slate. There's a bunch of games that you could stack. I like Orlando and Indy as well. Two teams that just met and two teams that just had a bunch of players go off. So that could be a game that you're stacking as well. But I do like to see that the data is saying, yes, there's a lot of value available. Beasley popping up there as well. Like no shocks there. Like we kind of touched on the top values there. So real quickly, we'll see who are the top plays via the index. Giannis, Steph, okay. And that's the thing about this slate, guys. I think we can fit them in there pretty easily. And I'll show you guys that in my first look build that I do. Okay, so we'll touch on that in just a second here. But first, I do want to show you guys kind of which players are gaining the most ownership right now. All right, so looking at right now, starting with the FanDuel projected ownership this morning. And once again, guys, this will change throughout the day. But Josh Giddey is popping up there. And that kind of echoes my sentiment about that is a game in which you could be stacking. I'll show you guys why he's popping up there, why people are like, the last game against New York, he went off 58 DK points, and he's just coming off of a 46 DK point night. People are expecting that to continue. Not a terrible price point, and with the value that's available, that game could be one in which you are to stack. I don't mind that route. From there, Jared Allen, I'm not really sure why he's popping up. The minutes have been there, I guess. Bad night in his last game. Maybe people are expecting regression. I don't particularly see that. Jordan Clarkson, yes, on FanDuel, that makes sense. RJ Barrett popping up as well. Could be a fine play. Shai popping up. Horton Tucker, we see that. Giannis getting some ownership because he's a lot cheaper on FanDuel. That makes sense. So let's take a peek at DraftKings, and then I'll show you guys the first look build, then we'll be getting out of here. So yes, Jared Allen popping up there once again. Let's just pull that up. Let's see why. No one's ruled out. Maybe Kevin Love, maybe not expected to play. Let's see. A little bit risk reward. I guess people are hoping that he gets 40 DK points. I guess. I don't know. I'm not particularly going on my way to playing, but I guess, he could have a high ceiling, and that's what people like. I guess. Jalen Williams, I like, though. I already touched on that. Josh Giddey getting ownership. Horton getting ownership as he should. Robinson, or I would expect his ownership to be way higher than this. Okay, so that's interesting. If it's not, that's a play that we're looking at. A lot of people are expecting Cam Reddish to sit, so then Quentin Grimes would be a good value. So we kind of get it, okay? So let's just get into that first look build for you guys. I'll show you guys how easy it is to put Giannis and Curry into a build. So right at the bat, just going to go Curry. Obviously, been a stud the last 3 games, 70, 50, and 70 DK points. You'd love to see that from him. So yes, just going to put him in there for now. And then Giannis. Giannis is priced up, but obviously that's whole stuff with Philly where media try to make him a villain pretty much for no reason. That was strange. That's just a strange storyline. Just given what we know from Giannis and everything, like you would have assumed that he was in the wrong. You would have given him, or wasn't in the wrong. You would have given him a pass until the full story came out. Full story comes out and he wasn't too much in the wrong. Okay. Anyways, he's going to be more motivated to do well, obviously. And really the biggest reason why he struggled, especially DK point total wise, are those free throws. So you give him a game in which he's just going to be more motivated to play well and especially make more free throws. I think that's going to be a positive thing for him in this game. And it wouldn't shock me to see him go for 60 DK points. My biggest worry is that this game could be a blowout, but I think it'll be a blowout because of Giannis. So I do expect him to score 60 DK points. Obviously a much better play on FanDuel because he's easier to fit in there because he's cheaper. And then from there, we have a lot of salary left over still. I'm going to put Quentin Grimes in there right now. Yes, if Cam Reddish says he is going to be a strong price point play. And that's something just confirm before lineup lock. If you're in the Discord chat, remember that link's in the description below, as well as tools, as well as the access to all the tools that you saw in this video. But just confirm that before lineup lock. And then from there, guys, look at it. We can fit Lauri Markkanen in there pretty easily. A player that I think is going to be a strong price point play in this slate. So really an easy slate in which to make a great build. And then just real quickly, touching on my favorite guard plays other than the players in these builds. Yes, I don't mind Jordan Clarkson. You can play him. Shai could easily go off. Tyrese Halliburton just went off against the Magic for 59 DK points. You're pretty much locking in 40 DK points with upside for 50 DK points. I like stacking that game, so I might play him in some game stacks. Simons, once again, gets a tough matchup, but should be a decent play for you on the slate. Giddey, I'm fine with. I do like Jalen Suggs a decent amount. Been a very strong fantasy point producer in his last 3 games, 44, 40, and 35 DK points. Obviously, against Indy, just went for 35 DK points. You like to see that. And then from there, not too much, value-wise, we already are on the value plays that you should be on. Forward-wise, kind of more the same. All the top forward plays really on the slate are already in the build, I think. Sure, like Magic-wise, Bol could be someone you're looking at. Jeremy Grant could be someone that does well. Wagner as well. Wagner's, once again, you could stack that game pretty easily. Just went for 43 DK points. Been a very consistent fantasy producer as well with Banchero out. So yes, he is someone you could look at. And then center-wise, I do think you are playing Robinson Earl. Sure, there's some decent price point plays. But no one you're really going crazy out of your way to play. All right, so that's all we have for you guys for this video. Remember, if you enjoy the coverage, make sure to give it a like and subscribe. That helps us be able to put out more content for you guys. If you guys want access to any of the tools that you saw in this video, click the links in the description below. All right, thanks for watching and good luck on this slate.